Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Beastmaster, but we'll be running him without minions. We'll have a wolf active, but we don't really care about him. We just want to be able to use the Howl ability from him, so we'll have it on autocast, and that'll give us the aspect of the links, which is going to give us critical strike, more critical multiplier, and really allow us to do more damage with our melee attacks. This is more of a solo Beastmaster run. You're going to be using the Beastmaster itself for damage. We're going to be dual wielding some Raider axes to try and get to 100% crit. You'll be able to have it when your buffs are up. We'll have the Frenzy Totem there to give us a boost of critical strike chance, of flat melee damage, and then we'll just be absolutely annihilating things by using Swipe to stack up aspects of the Shark. And Swipe will be doing really good damage. We'll be getting 1000 to 2000k crits on mobs with it, and then at the same time, as soon as you get your mana generation from it, from both the mana gain on use of Swipe and through the process of summoning or proccing Thorn totems and them dying off and giving you mana, you'll be able to spam Earthquake, and when you spam Earthquake is going to hit like a rock. We're hitting bosses in the mono for 60,000 damage. So against the training dummy, well, you're going to be hitting for at least 500k. It's hard to judge though because you can't get the aspect of the shark stacks, which increase your melee damage on the dummy, so you're not able to fully test it there. However, it's kind of an unsaid rule that you do about 10 times more damage to the dummy than you do to mobs. So if you're doing 60k crits on the bosses in the mono, you can definitely rely that against the dummy you'd be getting 500,000 damage. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills and show you how this works, because this is definitely one of my favorite melee playstyles, as it synergizes really well between building yourself up with a zero costing skill and being able to spam a very heavy mana skill and being able to do great damage with it. It feels really good. For skills, we're running Swipe, Summon Frenzy Totem, Earthquake, Summon Thorn Totem, and Fury Leap. For Swipe, we're using this to get really fast attack speed for some global crit chance and global crit multiplier. And then we also get some mana back on hit and have a chance to summon some wolves that get the same damage that we do. We have 2 points in Blood Beast for 40% bleed chance, 1 point in Rending so that we shred the physical armor of our enemies. That's not shredding armor, it's actually just shredding the physical resistance. We have 1 point in Duality of Nature. Since we're not transformed, we gain 3 mana for every hit that we do with Swipe. 4 points in Aspect of the Panther. Aspect of the Panther is a buff that you get for 4 seconds when you hit an enemy. You can get up to 8 stacks of it, giving you 80% global damage increase. 3 points in Wild Calling, so that you have a 45% chance on hit with Swipe to summon Spirit Wolves that again have the same hit damage that you do, but they cone out. And so it's kind of an AoE hit attack, so you basically just do more damage in a bigger area when these proc. 1 point in Feline Hunter for some global attack speed. 1 point in Maul for some global melee damage increase. 3 points in Ambush for 75% more global crit chance as long as you have an aspect of the Panther buff. And 4 points in Apex Predator for a 100% increase in global critical strike multiplier as long as you have a stack of aspect of the Panther. What's nice about that is that means that as soon as you use Swipe for the next 4 seconds, you're going to have increased attack speed, increased melee damage, increased crit chance, increased crit multiplier, and increased global damage. So it's just a huge buff, and it makes a lot of sense to use that to stack up your buffs before you use Earthquake. For Summon Frenzy Totem, we have 5 points in Grounded, so that after we cast it, we will gain 25 melee physical damage to all our melee attacks. That's global. 1 point in Dig In so that we're tethered to the Frenzy Totem as long as we're within a certain range. This increases our damage by 100%. 5 points in Dig Deep so we gain 250% critical strike, which is huge. It means you're basically guaranteed to crit whenever you are tethered to the Frenzy Totem. You'll have really close to 100% crit even without it, but once you're frenzied to the totem, it's guaranteed that you will crit with all your melee attacks. We have 4 points of Rapidity to increase the frenzy effect of the totem, which as a base gives you 20% attack speed. You now get 40% more of that, which puts you at about 28% increased attack speed. We have 4 points in Beast Style Frenzy, so that our companions have more melee physical damage, and 1 point in Lead the Pack, so that when we howl, we have more critical strike chance. You can put more of these points into the howl, which just means that if there's any time you're not tethered, as long as you've howled recently, which you will be howling because it is what will proc the aspect of the Lynx buff for you, it'll give you more crit chance. For Earthquake, this will be our main damaging skill. Not that Swipe does bad damage, it actually does really good damage and is very comparable to a high crit damage build like Flurry on the Rogue, but we use Earthquake to just finish things off. You can call it the Synchronized Strike of the Rogue build because it does great damage and you can spam it really fast thanks to how high you're going to be stacking your attack speed. We have 4 points in Rupture to increase the initial hit damage, 1 point in Seismic Smash to get rid of all aftershocks, but all aftershock damage will increase the initial hit damage, 2 points in Potency to have the initial hit damage be even more. This will reduce the area of effect a little bit for it, 3 points in Crushing Wake to increase the aftershock damage by 60%. This is converted to initial hit damage, 2 points in Concussion for some more initial hit damage, 3 points in Hump Break for increased area so that we bypass the loss of area over here and then get some extra, 5 points in Shatter Quick so that we deal 150% more damage against a chilled or frozen enemy. We'll have chill on hit, so after a couple of hits with Swipe you get the buffs, you chill the enemy, and then you come in with a big swooping Earthquake to finish them off. You may ask why we didn't put 1 point Seismic Tide for the 3 hits instead of 1, because we have plenty of mana, and it's because this puts a 2-second cooldown on the skill, which means you can't spam it. Right now we can get off like 6 attacks in 2 seconds, which is way more than what you're going to get with getting the 3 hits, you know, with a 2-second cooldown. So you can test it, you can try it. Maybe if you only want to use Earthquake once you can, but for us, I liked being able to spam Earthquake against the big bosses and just absolutely annihilate them and then go get my mana with Swipe on the trash bombs. For Summon Thorn Totem, we have this set up to give us mana back. We proc it through our idols. We have 4 points in Forested Expanse, 4 points in Eternal Forest, 1 point in Grove Mind, 3 points in Memories of Edera, so that every time a Thorn Totem expires or is unsummoned, we gain 12 mana. We'll have 5 of these proc at a time, thanks to the nodes. You have 2 base, this adds 4 for 6 total. 1 point in Grove Mind will make that total go down by 1, so you proc 5 every time it procs from the idols, which means you get 60 mana every time that it disappears. 1 point in Ancient Power, 2 points in Impale, and 2 points in Shred Armor, so that the Thorn Totems have a 40% chance on hit to shred armor, and 3 points in Torrent of Thorns for 3 extra projectiles per Thorn Totem. For Leap is our movement skill. You don't have to have the skill. We didn't tend to use it very much. However, if you want, you could definitely change it out. Do something like Ice Thorns that's going to give you more hits. You could put Maelstrom on and get some dodge to help your survivability. You could throw Avalanche on if you really wanted, although Avalanche isn't going to hit very hard just because you don't have much spell damage. But there's a lot of different things you could do with it. I've definitely been tempted to trade it out for Maelstrom and just stack dodge so that our survivability goes up, but our survivability wasn't bad enough for me to do it, and I like the movement skill so that we could rush through the echoes. We have 4 points in Warrior's Entrance for more global damage, 3 points in Rage so that after you use it you get 30% more attack speed, 5 points in Ambush Predator, so if you land on an enemy that has high health or at full health that hasn't been hurt yet, you'll do 175% more damage, 1 point in Crater, 1 point in Savage Impact, and 6 points in Brutal Impact for that 150% critical multiplier. For passives, we have 20 points in the Primalist base class, with 4 points in Primal Medicine, 1 point in Harmony of Blades, 5 points in Primal Strength, 6 points in Survival of the Pack, and 4 points in Tempest Bond. We have 0 points in the Druid, 10 points in the Shaman to unlock Earthquake, with 4 points in Shamanic Infusion, 1 point in Silent Protector, and 5 points in Totemic Fury, which gives us 25% more attack speed as long as there's a totem active, which you'll always have Thorn Totems going off. And then we have 81 points in the Mastered Beastmaster, with 4 points in Ursane Strength, 1 point in Savagery, 1 point in Ambush, 6 points in Lamprey Teeth, 4 points in Boarheart, 5 points in Porcine Constitution, 2 points in Primal Strength, 5 points in Axe and Claw, 1 point in Rending Maul, 4 points in Hunters of the Deep, 5 points in the Circle of Life, 1 point in Dragon Slayer, 8 points in Ocean Maul, 1 point in Feeding Frenzy, 5 points in Primal Aspects, 4 points in Cry of the Lynx, 6 points in Serrated Claws, 5 points in Critical Bite, 1 point in Force of Nature, 10 points in Viper Fangs, and 2 points in Ancient Might. For items and idols, we have one type of idol on. We have chance to summon a Thorn Totem on hit, and then we have increased duration of the Lynx buff. You don't even need that. All you need is 4 idols that have % chance on hit to summon a Thorn Totem. You want as much mana back as possible. The aspect of the Lynx duration with all the duration notes that we took inside of the passive tree, and the fact that the wolf howls every 10 seconds means you'll basically always have 100% uptime, as you can make it last almost 20 seconds with just passives alone. For items, you'll see that we're wearing no uniques. We are wearing dual Raider Axes. On the left main hand, we have added melee physical damage, added melee critical strike chance, increased stun chance with melee attacks, and chance to chill on hit. With the offhand, we have added melee physical damage, critical strike multiplier, increased chance to stun with melee attacks, and increased stun chance. We're really going for some stun chance on this build, especially with your earthquake hits. They hit so hard you're very likely to stun the bosses, stun anything really, and it will cancel their attacks. For our chest piece, we have added strength, added attunement, shared melee damage, and increased health. For our helm, we have attunement, set physical, shared melee damage, and increased health. For our amulet, we have a silver amulet for critical strike chance. We have critical strike multiplier and increased critical strike chance added to it with elemental resist and health. We're wearing 2 silver rings. The right ring has set fizz, set necrotic, elemental, and health. The left has set necrotic, attunement, elemental resist, and health. The belt has set fizz, set necrotic, increased, and hybrid health. We have the soul embraces for more critical strike chance in the glove slot, with strength, attunement, flat health, and hybrid health. For the boots, we have the soul embrace for that armor. It has set necrotic, attunement, hybrid health, and move speed. And then for our relic, we have the radiant crest with attunement, set physical, elemental resist, and flat health. For our character sheet, as you can see, we're capped on resistances. We have over 2,000 health. We don't have a whole lot of movement speed. We have over 200 mana. And then for our damages, they don't look very high. Our critical strike multiplier is at 345%, which is pretty huge. Remember, as soon as we use swipe, that jumps up by another 100%. As soon as we get aspect of the Lynx, we get some more percentage on top of that. As you can see, we can just do a hit over here, and you'll see that all of these jump up. We got 445 on the crit. We instantly jumped up to 266% melee damage. And remember, as you get more stacks of the shark, it continues to go up. And then you get your stacks of aspect of the panther. You get, as soon as we howl, we get even more. You can see we have 505% critical strike multiplier and 380% melee. Now, when you're out and about, like attacking mobs, you have a 25% chance to get another stack of aspect of the shark for every rare or boss that you hit. So you can get a lot more than one stack, and that's what this melee damage starts going up. As soon as you get about 10 to 20 stacks of aspect of the shark, you'll be over 1,000% melee damage. I've seen it go over 2,000% with something that has a lot of life, and you really sit there and stack it for a little bit. And that allows you then to just spam Earthquake, and you have a 500% plus the 100% from swipe, and you'll have a 600% crit multiplier on top of 1,000 to 2,000% melee damage, and it just hits like a rock. Alright, for the skill rotation and how to play the build, I like to put the Howl for the Wolf and the Frenzy Totem both on autocast. And what this does is Howl will constantly go off. You'll see that I get the aspect of the Lynx here, and you can see that my cooldown on the Wolf Howl, I'm going to have 100% uptime. He's going to howl again before it even wears off. Boom. And remember, that's not even with the extra 5 points to increase the duration of the buff. So if you put the full 5 points in there, switch these around a bit, you can definitely have 100% uptime even without the idols on the aspect of the Panther. Then we have the Frenzy Totem, which will go off, constantly. It's always going to be summoned right next to you, so you don't have to worry about where your mouse is pointed. And then at that point, we just attack the enemy. We get our stacks. We make sure that we have our 8 stacks of aspect of the Panther. We have aspect of the Viper active. We've got our aspect of the Shark. You can see we have all of our buffs, and then you just sit there and then you just hit with your good old Earthquake, do a couple million damage, get all your mana back almost instantly. You can do it again, just like that, and boom, you can see we're just absolutely annihilating this thing. We're hitting, almost 400,000 damage, and you don't even have more than 2 stacks of Aspect of the Shark. Imagine if you had more than that and you had 2000% melee damage on this, you'd be hitting for 500,000 to 1,000,000 damage each on the training dummy. Unfortunately, there's no enemies, there's no rares or bosses here to stack that high, but you can tell it's a very hard-hitting skill. As you can see from the boss footage, we just absolutely annihilated them. Killed the God Hunter and Abomination before they even phased, almost got Lagon. It's just crazy. Alright, let's get into some more gameplay.